Thank you. Yeah, so my name is Alexander Raeside. I'm a plant science. I work in the James Hutton Institute. Maybe you know it. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere, but tonight I'm bringing the middle of nowhere with me tonight. Yeah, we're like a really nerdy cult. We go everywhere together. Anyway, so yeah, I'm originally from Perth. So if you kind of think of the JHI as being kind of upstream from the Tay, and then you further upstream you have Perth. And I was actually born here in Dundee. I was born in Ninewells, so you can see where I was born from where I work, which is pretty cool. But it essentially means like I've traveled the least in this entire room. But that's pretty cool, because if you work in academia, you know academia is so international. You get to work, like the world comes to you in academia, and I get to work with people from all around the world, and I love that. But like I worry sometimes that my references are too local, and I worry that people aren't gonna understand me. I mean, I worry that you guys aren't gonna understand me. Yeah. Because I want to tell you all about my interesting barley research. I want to show you how important it is and how important it is to the world that we understand barley and how interesting it is. But I want to say that barley is like a cold-tolerant, hardy crop. It can survive in the harshest of coldest environments. It is like the 24-hour bakery of the crop world. It just survives anything. But I feel that's a very local reference, so it might be lost in translation. But other things like Sir come to the lab tomorrow, and I'm like, man, last night at Fight Club, I was like Cromwell's fortifications in the Perthshire area in the 17th century. I was destroyed. It's like too local a reference. But yeah, so I'm working in barley. I'm studying how barley responds to cold stress. And I'm in my third year now, and I found out many, many interesting cool things barley does in response to cold stress. Things on a physiological level, an epigenetically level, a molecularly level. I'm pretty smart at that stuff, and it does really cool stuff in cold stress. I've also figured out I don't do well in cold stress. I don't do well in cold, I don't do well in stress. You see barley in the winter, it's standing strong. You see me in the winter, I'm like, nah. No. Knowledge is forever, not today, I don't do well in winter, I don't do well in cold stress, and I want to explain to you that doing a PhD in life science, it's not like it is in the movies. It's like really stressful, and I want to explain that it's stressful in a way that is maybe not too depressing, maybe in a way that is a little bit funny, hopefully. But I was kind of thinking of a way I could explain to you my average day, the average day of which I deal with stress. And so I have a method of dealing with stress in the lab when things don't go my way, which is I get like a stress ball. But it's not like a stress ball, it's like a bag of Revels that we get from the vending machine. And then you hold it in your hand real tight like a stress ball, and then it kind of forms one chemical cannonball called a mega Revel. And then when you're really stressed and you're really down, like, man, I can't believe I made this mistake. You eat it all at once and it'll go straight to your gut and you feel nothing. And that's what like an average day of PhD stress does to me. Which is a shame, because Dundee was voted the best city in the UK to do life sciences. But I feel that when people think of Dundee and life science, they don't think of plant science as quickly as they should. They think of cancer research. P53 protein was discovered here. It's really important. And they think of forensic anthropology. I love forensic anthropology. I think it's the coolest thing ever. Digging some guy up who's been dead 1,000 years ago, figuring out what he looks like from the skull. That's amazing. But there's no future in it. If you think about it. From now, no one is going to have to try that hard to figure out what we look like. This is like a nuclear holocaust that wipes out Facebook, Snapchat, Tinder, Tumblr, all the ones. It's going to be pretty hard not to figure out what we look like. I think forensic anthropology in the future will be like digging people up and working out whether they were wearing glasses because they needed them or just because they look cool. Just because they gave me like a little hipster vibe, which they quite like sometimes. So I'm doing a 3-year PhD. I'm in my final year. It's kind of stressful, like I said, but I don't dwell on it too much. But people think of 3 years as 3 years and then you're out. But it's actually 3.5. They kind of cut the last year into 2 parts. So you have some extra time to write up, which I need pretty desperately since I'm just getting my results now. But it's not a joke. I talk about it all the time, you know this. Yeah, but I kind of think of it like a movie, like Twilight or The Hunger Games, when they split the last third book into 2 parts. But by that time, it's depressing. By that time, it's like apocalyptic. By that time, everyone's just looking sad at each other. But you want to know why it's not like in the movies? Why a 3.5-year PhD is not like the movies? It's because Jennifer Lawrence gets paid so much extra for her extra time. I get paid 0. You know, I'm a real Hunger Games. I'm just moving upstream to live with my parents for a few months. That's my life. You know, I'm swimming upstream to die like a salmon or something. It's kind of depressing. I say it's depressing a lot, but like I love it. All I wanted to be since I was a kid is a plant scientist. I cannot wait to get my PhD. Mina, I went straight from undergrad straight to PhD. I didn't get a master's because I felt like, man, if I work hard, if I get kind of lucky with the results, I could have this by 2016. I could go to the Olympics as Dr. Alexander Raeside, which would be pretty not too nerdy, but yeah, awesome. But yeah, and little things like I could use it every day. I would probably use it every day. But I could go book a restaurant, just a table for one for Dr. Alexander Raeside. That would be awesome. And maybe like on a plane, if some guy gets a heart attack, awesome as well. I'm the doctor on the plane when they call for a doctor. You know, that could be me. I could be useful. It's a doctorate in philosophy, but I could still be useful. You know, philosophy, everyday purposes. What is plane? What is heart attack? What is life? That's kind of useful, right? I'm not just a doctor of philosophy, I'm a plant doctor of plant philosophy, though. And that is truly useful in everyday problems. If this guy gets a heart attack on the airplane, I'm like, celery. Lowers blood pressure. I eat every day, soothes my nerves. I'm doing great, you know? That's not going to help the guy, but it can help his kids, because these things are genetics, which is my degree. And that affects us all, so I'm useful. I'm still useful in that situation. I don't travel, though, like I said. So it's not that useful. Yeah. So a little bit more what I'm doing. I'm trying to find genes in body that are involved in how body senses cold. You know, it senses cold, it builds up its defenses so it can survive the harsh Scottish winters. And I found some genes that are pretty promising. I'm actually making a transgenic, a genetically modified organism. And I know people kind of freak out when they think GMOs. In fact, they have protests. People protest GMOs. They have fun runs and marathons for cancers, but they protest GMOs, which is kind of our equivalent. I used to get really bothered when people said my work is all plant sciences, like frankenfoods, and it's unnatural, but now I'm kind of happy that someone's at least taking an interest in my work. You know? You hear that, Dad? But yeah, so I'm currently making a transgenic. It's overexpressing a protein, hopefully going to figure out how this thing responds to cold differently, if it's going to be important, the cold response, maybe other stresses too, because I like stresses. But, you know, but the barley transgenic is actually in its early stages of development, and it's all licensed by the EU and everything, so you could say it's barley legal. Right? Yeah, I gotta dig for gold, you know? Yeah, so I originally got into science, like feed the world. Plant science is very important in feeding the world. But I think if you're working for barley, you're not really feeding the world. You're working for the whiskey industry, you're working for the distillery industry, the beer industry. And that kind of used to bother me when it first started, but now I'm like, man, I used to drink for fun, now I do professionally. That is awesome. You know, the alcohol industrial complex, I'm part of the machine. You know, I'm the input, the output, the whole deal. But I get freaked out sometimes because I think that other sciences are kind of like stealing my thing, you know? Especially cancer research. Because Dry January did a lot for cancer research, didn't do a lot for the distilling industry, didn't do a lot for the brewing industry. We lost a lot of money there. You know, and if you think about it, those cancer research places, they're opening on every street. Bars are closing all the time. You know? Give us some love. Just give us a little bit of love. Because, well, you know, they go so well together, you know, being ill and being drunk. You know? You know, so I think we gotta get rid of Dry January. I think we gotta replace it. For my profession, we should replace it as weekday drunk. You know, just pick a weekday, get drunk. That's it. Yeah. So if you guys like more bad jokes about barley, come to my Viva, because there's loads of them. I'm a little bit light on the research, so yeah. Anyway, thank you. Good night.